Welcome everyone to this special Sports Explainer. Today, we are looking at an upcoming event so massive, so incredibly unprecedented, it's basically going to rewrite the global sports record books. Yep, I'm talking about the FIFA World Cup 2026. Get ready because we are literally witnessing the dawn of a completely new era in global football.
Okay, let's dive right into this. The very first thing we need to establish, this is not just another football tournament. Look, every 4 years we get the thrill of the World Cup, right? But what we're preparing for in 2026 is a monumental leap in scale. Our sources are absolutely clear on this. We're looking at what is officially projected to be the biggest World Cup in the history of the sport. To put that into perspective, previous tournaments, well, they were capped by stadium capacities and a fixed broadcast schedule. But 2026, it's projecting record-shattering ticket sales and global broadcast numbers that are expected to just totally dwarf past events. The sheer magnitude of the logistics being put together right now is absolutely mind-blowing.
So what's the core reason for all this massive scale? 48. For the very first time in the tournament's nearly 100-year history, 48 teams are going to battle it out on the global stage. This isn't just some, minor administrative tweak. Actually, scratch that. It's a fundamental expansion of the entire competitive field.
We're officially moving away from the 32-team format we've known for decades and stepping into this bold new 48-team era. And this fundamentally changes the qualification dynamics across the globe. For instance, continents like Africa and Asia are seeing a massive increase in their guaranteed spots. Africa goes from 5 guaranteed slots up to 9, and Asia jumps from 4 to 8. So nations that have consistently been right on the brink of qualification, enduring heartbreak after heartbreak, will finally get their chance to shine. It alters the whole mathematical structure of the tournament, ensuring way more global representation than we've ever seen before.
And this brilliantly illustrates just how huge this is. To accommodate 48 teams and a vastly expanded match schedule, a single host nation simply isn't going to cut it. For the first time ever, 3 countries are joining forces: the United States, Canada, and Mexico. It's a logistical necessity, sure, but it also creates a truly unique milestone in World Cup history. I mean, just imagine the sheer geographical footprint here. We are talking about matches spanning multiple time zones, from the high altitude of Mexico City to the coastal breezes of Vancouver, all the way to the massive metropolises of the US. The vibrant blending of different cultures and the incredible atmosphere as this tournament sweeps across the entire North American continent, it's going to be unlike anything we've ever experienced.
And that massive geographical footprint, it translates into an absolute spectacle for the fans. We're talking state-of-the-art stadiums ready to roar, completely decked out with cutting-edge innovations. Think semi-automated offside technology refined to the absolute millimeter, advanced stadium cooling systems, and augmented reality broadcast features that are going to bring fans closer to the pitch than ever before. Millions of viewers will be packing the stands and tuning in from literally every corner of the planet, all watching the greatest global superstars compete. It is designed from the ground up to be a complete sensory overload.
But here is the absolute best news for all of us football lovers out there. With the expanded format, the math translates to unprecedented excitement. The tournament is expanding from the traditional 64 matches up to a staggering 104 matches. Let that sink in. That is 40 extra games of high-stakes, dramatic football. The tournament will naturally be longer, the dramatic narratives are going to run so much deeper, and the action will unfold over even more unforgettable clashes. Basically, you're getting far more of the beautiful game that you already love.
Let's just slow down for a second and ground all this anticipation, because this isn't just fan excitement talking. The expert consensus is already forming, and it's a powerful statement. Analysts believe that World Cup 2026 could become the biggest sporting event in history. Think about that. When you combine the massive stadium capacities across North America over a 39-day period, the aggregate attendance is projected to surpass even the Summer Olympics. Think about the weight of those words. Not just the biggest football event, the biggest sporting event in all of recorded history. The stakes literally do not get any higher than this.
But what really drives a World Cup is the human drama. It's the superstars who carry the hopes of their nations. We have to ask, will players like Kylian Mbappe, Erling Haaland, and Jude Bellingham write completely new history on this massive stage? But here's the fascinating twist. How will the brutal travel schedule across 3 massive North American countries, crossing multiple time zones and varying climates, actually test the physical endurance of these specific stars? Will these global icons elevate their legacies, or will the sheer, grueling nature of the largest tournament ever constructed just be too much? This is exactly the kind of stage where true legends are forged.
And with 48 teams entering the fray, we really have to pose this fascinating question.
Will a new team completely shock the world? With Africa and Asia gaining those extra spots, powerhouses that narrowly missed out back in 2022, teams like Egypt or Nigeria are now heavily favored to not just qualify, but to make a deep, highly disruptive run. Will an underdog rise up through this newly expanded format and slay the traditional football giants? The mathematics of an expanded knockout round practically guarantees surprises, heartbreaks, and those miracle Cinderella stories we all love.
So the stage is truly being set for absolute magic. With the massive new 48-team format, the Tri-Nation hosting spanning an entire continent, and the absolute explosion of global talent, we are looking at an event that will completely dominate global conversation for a month and a half. The sheer scale is unprecedented. I want you to drop down into the comments right now and tell us your opinions. Are you ready for this new era of football? Which team do you think will benefit most from this massive expansion?
Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer on the monumental FIFA World Cup 2026. If you want to stay ahead of the curve and get the clearest, most structured breakdowns of the sports world, make sure you subscribe to Global Friends for more updates. Because as we look toward this massive 48-team experiment, we are left with one final, lingering question. Will this grand expansion ultimately unite the globe like never before, or will the sheer, unprecedented scale of the 2026 World Cup collapse under its own logistical weight? Let us know what you think below, and I'll see you next time.